Welcome to another episode of Grassroot Basketball Academy. I just want to thank all of you guys for your patience. It's been a minute since I got a chance to upload an episode. I still need to finish off the last video that I did, but I wanted to jump on here, and before I upload that episode, I wanted to premise something. I had a conversation with a friend the other day that really brings back memory to how the passion of basketball started in my life. So let's go back to the history of basketball, and whoever is listening to this can take a look on Google, look up the history of basketball on Wikipedia, and you find some interesting little stuff that points you to why people use sports, and it's not just basketball but sports in general, to conduct themselves in their lifestyle, what they do, what they say, the type of friends they hang out with, and so on and so forth. What I wanted to focus on is, say, basketball and some physical activities, for example, right? And during whatever time you watch this, I want to premise that it has been a while before I uploaded a video. So whether it's morning or night or in the day, I'm glad that you spend this few minutes with me tuning into Grassroot Basketball Academy, episode 38. Thank you for sticking with me. Thanks for your patience, and let's go. So, history of basketball. I don't know the full history, but I know that the history of basketball started with a Canadian guy that invented it. That's what I know. And it evolved so much since then, I lost track and couldn't follow it anymore. But the history that I want to dive back into is the days of Golden Eagles, and when I fell in love with playing basketball and also have it as a lifestyle. So, I don't know if this is a logo out there, but basketball to me is a lifestyle. The rest is just background noise, and sometimes it's hard for people to understand what I mean without playing the sports or so on. But whatever sport that is to you, make it a lifestyle. Make it something that you have to do at least once a week or twice a week, because it really changes your perspective on what you think you need to do versus what you actually should do. So without further ado, I'm gonna jump back into the past here to bring up something that somebody said to me, and it in light of the reason why they admire what I do now, it really speaks testament to me. So when I started playing, as I said in past episode, I was pretty young. I was turning 10 years old, and there's no other sport that I wanted to play. Started off with soccer, but transitioned quick over to basketball and solely playing basketball. There's days that I would still go play soccer, but that's neither here nor there. The thing that I look back on was how much I wanted to be like my idol, like the guys that I'm playing with, how much I wanted to compete against them, and so on and so forth. And the thing that I would say is, he's more like a brother to me instead of just a friend. The thing that he said to me was, I wanted to play basketball with them so bad when they got their basketball jersey back then. Huge shout out to the Golden Eagle, man like Tani, man like Junior, and so on. Mr. Hyman, aka Ninja, he had the Jordan name before I try to cop it, but either way, this guy has played way more basketball than I have. Mr. Hyman, shout out to you. And the thing that I look back on was, I look up to these guys. If it wasn't for these guys, I wouldn't start playing basketball. So my brother, my cousin, and my other brother, Mr. Hyman, they're the guys that got me started, and I have to give credit where credit is due. Something that, for lack of better words, Jordan number one said to me was, I wanted one of their jerseys so bad, and I couldn't get one. We had to go to like a tailor to go make one that night that they got the jersey. And when he said that to me, I didn't even remember that I did that, but I was like, that would be something that I would want to do, just so I feel like I'm part of the team. And to be honest with you, I remember it like it was yesterday, how much I was envious of not being able to play on the team, because I felt like I was next up. So I was on my way to becoming one of the, you're looking at the high school guys and you're like, next year I'm going to join the senior team and I'm going to be on the senior team. And I'm like, there's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to be on the senior team. So I said, you know what? Long story short, I'm going to wait until it's my turn to play and I'm going to go and play with them. So fast forward a little bit, I remember, like in previous episode, we had Burger King putting on, this was my first tournament. I remember it like I was, playing it yesterday, and it comes back to me in floods. We were playing on the wharf out by Freeport, Montego Bay, and Burger King decided to put on a street tournament on the pavement, like the parking lot of the wharf that the cruise ship comes in. And no word of a lie, I think we made it to about semifinals, because it's elimination game, round robin. You gotta win to stay in. If you lose, I think 3 or 2 consecutive game, you have one elimination game before you're out. I think it was something like that, just going off memory. But needless to say, we played so good for being in our first tournament. Me and my cousin Bobbin and somebody else we played with on my team. I think it was one of the guys I used to, if I'm not mistaken, spearfish with. Bob, big up yourself. Bobbin, big up yourself. And to be honest with you, it got to the point where I was like, you know what? These guys want to win as much as I do. And at that point, I felt like I was the leader of the squad, so I have to will them to win. So in retrospect, I didn't win. I ran out of steam in the last little bit of the semi-final game to go on to finals. And as soon as you finish your game, it was so awesome where Burger King decided that, all right, you got so far, here you go, here's a voucher. You can either get a burger at the stand over there, or you can go to one of their at the time, I think they had one downtown Montego Bay on one of their busier streets, to go get a free burger and a free drink and a free a free meal, so to speak. So burger, fries, and drink. And I think each one of us got 2, because we made it that far for a first time team playing 3-on-3 basketball, because we didn't even have a sub. It was just all 3 of us going through the motion, fighting every way to the semifinals until we lost. And hats off to the team that beat it. I don't even remember who they are, but needless to say, we lost, and we hung our heads when we lost, but we held our heads high to see how far we got to. After that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to see where this thing can take me, because I was so happy with our performance. I was like, the next Burger King 3-on-3 tournament we're going to enter, we're going to win it. And sad to say, I've never got the chance to enter another one in reference to the Burger King 3-on-3 basketball tournament. And I was sad, because you're hoping that the next year is going to be an annual thing, but no, they shut it down after the first one, if memory serves me correctly, or they took it to a different era in Jamaica. But that just goes to show, like, when you believe in yourself as a young man playing basketball, it goes a long way. And I was proud of my team, proud of how far we got to, and what we could have accomplished if we gel together as, one unit, play off each other's, get basketball chemistry, so to speak, and, could read plays and make passes and get layups and, block shots, set up all the defense. So it's so funny to see where I'm coming from to where I am now, because fast forward to now, even most recently, I put on my 3rd tournament. And I'm happy to say that it was successful to the point where if I wasn't, a referee in the tournament, I could have delegated way more stuff for people. Didn't have enough video footage to upload to the the Facebook page and put it on the website and all of that stuff. But it's one of those things where you're like, you know what? I am gonna be more prepared next time. I gotta premise this. Each tournament I've done, I've learned something from it. So I'm thankful for the fact that I had Reynald that did my first tournament, came back and, shout out to Reynald, our official referee for Grassroot basketball tournament. You can come and ref any of my tournament, no matter where in the world I'm putting on tournaments. You can come and ref it every single time because everybody was impressed with that referee. Nobody was quarreling about, oh, they got a bad call or so on. Everybody, and the game, the pace of the game was so fast. I was refereeing the kids game and I had to come over and be like, you guys are in the finals already? We're not even at lunchtime yet. That's how much fast pace we're going. So I got a shout out to Reynolds because he came through in a pinch even when I went through a lot of adversity. So big shout out to my referee Reynolds. And I have some announcement coming, but I want to talk to him first and even have him on the podcast before I announce this. But needless to say, it was amazing to see coming from my first tournament, because it was a dream of mine from that very first tournament I entered with my teammates to now running my third consecutive tournament, and many more to come for sure. But it's one of those things where I think I have that ability to pull the crowd together, and I realized that from an early stage on, where I can call up a couple people, send out a couple texts, and in no time I can pull like 40-50 people on a basketball court to come play ball. So with that being said, it's an ability that you recognize that you have. And even most recently somebody said that to me. I think it was in the last month or beginning of July here, somebody was saying I have that capability to pull people together, so I should enhance and use that skill so I can pull a community together to come play ball and sharing the same passion that we have for basketball. So I just find, coming from I was talking about the history at the start of this podcast, where I think the founder of basketball had like a trash can in mind, and they wanted to score the basketball in a trash can. I was reading up on it today, but I didn't get the full details on it. I'll post the link in the podcast as my reference for in the description page, because I don't wanna give false things that I read today, because I'm just running off memory. But if I'm not mistaken, the guy wanted to use a trash can as the basketball hoop, and over so many years now we've evolved to a rim and a backboard and so on. Because I didn't even know this. The first basketball hoop looked like a netball hoop. For all my Caribbean folks, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So whoever doesn't know what a netball hoop looks like, it would be a basketball hoop without a backboard on it. That's really what it is. A pole coming out the ground with just a basketball rim on there, and it's not as big as the official basketball rim, because if I'm not mistaken, you can fit 3 official basketball into the rim of an official rim diameter. It's that big, but from the ground it looks small. So I was amazed to see that, and I gotta shout out this guy that actually talked about it in his videos on YouTube, because I was like, interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you can fit 3 basketball in the rim. And it's funny, because when you look back on, even back in the days when they were playing, it wasn't NBA back then, I think it was ABA. It was a totally different game. And I can't remember what year they introduced the 3-point line to, make the game more fun. So people start pulling up from right behind the line and cashing shots, just making shots from that little perimeter line. And even so, the NBA moved the 3-point line back a little bit. And also, I think in the Big 3 competition, they have the line so far back, they have a 4-point shot. So that's how much basketball has evolved. So saying that to say this, how much I've loved the game. I've tuned into every little subset I can get when the NBA is not on. I don't have sponsors for the NBA or anything like that, but anytime the NBA is not on and you can go watch some better basketball, such as Ball is Life or other basketball outfit like The Next Chapter or so on, these guys keep me entertained because I still love the sport. I still love the sport that much. But, what I would like to do is to create my own lane. So what I want you guys to do is to stay tuned for upcoming announcement. I have some big announcement coming up, some huge announcement. And I'm going to reach out to teams that have entered the tournament. They're going to be the first people I contact in regards to my announcement. And also, if you are interested in doing some drop-in basketball, I'll be posting that on my Facebook page here pretty soon. I'm looking to get a couple people out for some pickup ball because, like I said, even once a week it'd be nice to have some basketball runs going. And I'm really gonna create my community around this. I'm really gonna set my community as far and wide as I can to get people to come together because it's stuck around with me for 20 plus years, 30 plus years now, where I'm still doing it. I'm not at the highest level I can be at, but I'm still working on working on parts of my game that I need to improve on. Still have a jump shot, still have a layup, can't dunk anymore, got old and the knees are not giving anymore, but it just means that I have work to do. When those things comes around, it's your body telling you, you know what, shake off the dust, time to get back to work. So time to get in the lab, time to start putting in some work, it's time to start hitting the gym again. But I'm gonna cut it off here because as I said, I have some announcement to put out, and I also have some video footage to finish off from the series from our drop-in basketball there. So really thank you guys for tuning in. As I said, you could be anywhere else listening to this, but I appreciate you guys tuning in to listen to this episode. Thank you again, and stay blessed, stay warm if you're in a cold climate, stay cool if you're in a hot climate. But enjoy the rest of your summer. Listen for announcement coming up, and thank you guys very much for tuning in to each and every episode. I really appreciate you. Really appreciate all of my audience that have tuned in. Stay blessed, stay tuned, and listen for announcement. Thank you.